Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. Quick, hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on our socials too: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on whatever you're listening to this podcast on. Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. My name is Ruru, and I am a frickin' TV holic. So, today, again, I'm without Mimi, and if you've listened to my previous, episodes, sometimes I do solo podcast episodes because Mimi has not watched these shows. I'm actually the person that got her into K-dramas and East Asian TV shows and all that. So I've watched a lot of them first, and also when we don't have content or if she hasn't caught up on the other shows that we're gonna recap, I do solo episodes by myself. So that's why this is happening. There are other things that Mimi actually wants to go over and do by herself, but she's just sorting out her podcast setup situation at home, so she can do some solo podcasts of shows that I have not watched. So that's why this is a bit, frazzled. I don't know what order I'm going to release these Exo Kitty episodes. So I know I've done season 1, season 2, and I'm doing season 3 right now today. But I think I might release season 3 first and do 2 and 1 and 2 later, just because it's out now, and I'm sure that you guys want to hear that right now, and you don't want to hear about season 1 and 2. But do go back when I post season 1 and 2, or if I do it the other way around, please listen to the other episodes too, because I'm gonna say stuff I've already said stuff in season 1 episode that I didn't want to repeat in season 2 and things like that. But I do tell you to go back and reference it in season 1. So if you want to hear my opinions, my thoughts, also about the gossip about each season, behind the scenes stuff, and also scandals and things like that have happened on the show and off air and things like that, and stuff fans didn't know about, and the reception of the show in general to the public, just go back and listen to those episodes, because I'm not going to repeat myself on these other episodes, because I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me repeating myself constantly. So with that said, season 3, I was looking forward to it. I was disappointed that, again, it was very short. I think there was only about 10 episodes, or 8 episodes, I think. Yeah, 8 episodes. Also, I feel it kind of felt like a finale season, the end. I'm hoping that there is a season 4, but I don't know if there will be, because this wraps it up quite neatly, the whole show, and it just seems very convenient, and with a little neat bow on top. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. With that said, I just want to break down everything I have in the other 2 episodes, and talk about this latest season 3, and just talk about how it was kind of a bittersweet conclusion to Kitty's whole journey in Seoul, South Korea. I feel it was too short, and the season was too short with 8 episodes. The episodes should have been longer in time, and also there should have been more episodes as well, about at least K-drama length, 16. And then I also wanted to say that there was a lot of senior year chaos situations. They could have done a better job of this if they had more episodes, or they put more thought into the storyline. I feel it was just very rushed, and they just wrote out the episodes and just banged it all together and put a stamp on it and sent it out to the world, which I don't really. I like quality over quantity, so this was it wasn't as good as I thought it could have been. I'm not saying it was totally bad, but it could do better. They could have done better, basically. So I'm just going to do like an episode by episode kind of breakdown. And then I'll talk about like controversy, like scandals and all that stuff as well. And like how it was like received by everyone as well. So I made these notes, not today, like about a few days ago. So bear with me. I haven't read over them before the podcast. I like to just dive right in. If you've listened to any of our podcasts before, you'll know that we just kind of like dive right in. Whatever comes up, comes up. So, season 3, it basically consisted of like 8 episodes, and it took us from like the heat of like the Korean summer to like close to graduation. They haven't graduated yet, but Kitty did turn 18 and all that. So, I was, you know what? It just hit me that they weren't at university. I kept thinking this whole season 3, that they were at university, and I was like getting so like confused by the situation. I thought, like, why are they pretending like she's turning 18? Like, are they having like she wants to pretend like to go back in time and like, have like when people turn like 40, they're pretending like they're turning 30, or if they're turning like 30, they're pretending they're turning 21 again or something like that. It was just really odd, I found, because they all clearly look. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what you all think of this situation. Comment and let me know what you think. Do you not think that they look like much older than they're trying to portray? Like they're trying to portray themselves as like school kids, like 17 to 18-year-old kids at school, and they look nothing like that. I really thought they were in university, like, so I thought it was a joke, like a kind of like a joke party. Because like I remember when Yuri was saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna make your a dress for your 18th birthday and this and that," and then I was like, "Oh yeah, so they must be like trying to pretend like to go back in time, like to capture their youth of like when they were younger." But yeah, that kind of shocked me because, like I said, no one looks like they're like 18 to 17. No one at all on the show. At least cast better, like to make people look like cast people that look younger, not people that look older. They look very, very like they look too mature for the show. Just my opinion. Like I want to know everyone else's too, because I could be like the only person that thinks this. Anyway, let's get back. I digress. To the episode. So episode 1, guest list. Basically they open up with like a summer kind of episode where Kitty is back in Seoul early to try and like surprise Minho, but she ends up entangled in like a high profile like party hosted by his father, and there's tension between like official and the official and secret like beginnings here of like something. And then episode 2, we kind of it's kind of like, I think it's called the sunset list. Episode 1 was called the guest list, and episode 2 is like the sunset list. So the school year officially gets started in episode 2, and then Kitty's like struggling with her like senior year requirements because her principal told her that she's not really making the grades and she might not graduate, so she's like freaking out about that. And she's also freaking out about like how she's gonna start this new relationship with Minho and all that stuff. And we see the introduction of like the singing competition plot, which kind of like dominates the mid-season. And then episode 3, it's like the playlist. It's called the playlist, and it focuses on like Eunice becoming an idol and her growing friendship with Minho, and Kitty starts to get like jealous and tries to peek into Minho's life more and like spend time with him while he's like managing Eunice's career. And I think that's when they go to the aquarium situation, and like she's like trying to get more dates with him, like go on more dates with him and stuff like that. Episode 4, it's called The Nervous System, and I think the infamous norovirus episode, half the school is down with norovirus, and it's leading to some like forced proximity between Yuri and like Juliana, and it's very gross, but there's like a funny cameo like mention for like Lara Jean's like past mishaps kind of situation. Also not loving the weird names that they've named these half Korean kids, Lara Jean and Kitty and what was the other one? Margot. It's very random and weird. Like, no. These are names from the past, like very, very old people's names. No. Episode 5, let's talk about episode 5. So that's like the Chuseon episode. And basically it's like a pivot point in the whole season. And I feel like during like this it's like Korean Thanksgiving. So during like this Korean Thanksgiving episode, when everyone goes to Dave's like dad's new restaurant that he opened up with the money from Yuri's family, because remember they sued Yuri's family and all that. So Kitty finds like this like positive like pregnancy test at the family restaurant when she's in the bathroom with Yuri, and she basically assumes that it belongs to Eunice, and this kind of like brings about this like huge misunderstanding between Minho and Kitty. And then in the next episode, episode 6, The Big Lie, Kitty basically confronts Minho about the pregnancy test, and like he doesn't deny it or anything like that, so she just kind of believes it's true and just storms off, which I think it's very like it's very poor like writing. It's like terrible, because like that could have been squashed straight away. The communication breakdown you see here, and it's like an all-time like I feel like they always use this like in every like high school drama kind of thing, very basic, very, predictable kind of thing to happen. Like a huge misunderstanding always happens in TV shows, especially Netflix shows recently. And it's the most frustrating part, I feel, of like the episode, and for like fans and people who are Team Minho, because they make him like seem like such an asshole for like not explaining and then just like hating Kitty for like not believing in him and this and that. Like, yeah, it just like ruins his character. Moving on anyway, swiftly to episode 7, it's called Final Notes, and the singing competition reaches its finale basically, and Stella True. What the hell? Have I mixed my notes up? Okay, sorry guys. I think I've got my notes mixed up. So I'm not sure what happened in episode 7. I can't really remember. But let's move on to like the last episode. That's when like basically everything like ends up like nice and neatly tied up with like Jin and Q together, and Jin finally forgiving Q. Also, yeah, one of the episodes, Minho and everyone goes to Lotte World or Lotto World, and that's like a giant theme park in Seoul, just on the outskirts of Seoul, I believe. And that was really fun to watch, and they all had fun. It looked like a lot of fun, and also the teachers got involved. There was also a, Alex and her cousin, Kitty's cousin, basically made made a baby together. And it was kind of like her cousin thought that she was no, Alex, the teacher, thought that he was like revealing Kitty was revealing it to his dad, the principal, when she was talking about something else. And so he kind of blurted it out. And so the dad found out, the dad was cool with it. And then they kind of told the grandmother, um, Kitty's emo harmony, and she was kind of ended up being all right with it too eventually. And um, although she wasn't that happy. And then what else happened? What else did they do in this season? Because my notes are really like mixed up. Um, oh yeah. So other people that got together, Juliana and Yuri looked like they might be starting something next season, a relationship again, because she broke up with Ravina. And then there's also a another person in a relationship. Oh yeah. So it turns out that um that the girl that was pregnant, um the one that Minho was covering for Eunice, she wasn't really pregnant. She found out she was just missing her period because of stress. She told Day that, and they cleared up their misunderstanding. She also decided to quit being a pop star because she couldn't take the fame and everything, and she was just sick and tired of it all. Minho's dad got really pissed and fired Minho, and he tried to get Minho to, kind of like get her to be a singer again, but he's like, I don't want to do that. She doesn't want to do that. I'm not going to force her. She's my friend. And then he kind of fired Minho. He said you're not cut out for the job and stuff like that. So I think that triggered Minho a bit, to, say that you don't believe in me and this and that to what's her face to Kitty. To Kitty. Sorry, I'm trying to do this off the top of my head now because my notes don't make sense because I think I started writing about season two. And then also, yeah, so like, yeah, so Day and Eunice are kind of like a thing now as well. Everyone's coupled up. The new guy, um, I want to say Maurice, not Mauricio, um, Morris, the British guy with a British accent. He basically ended up just being friends with Jin and uh Q, and they kind of like squashed their beef, and he also squashed his beef with Kitty, and they all helped in the fashion show for Yuri, and that was like cool. I like it when they're all together. They split everyone up too much this season into like their different little coupled groups, and I like it when they're all together, they're all doing things together because they are a friendship group, and that's what we like to watch and see, like how they interact together and stuff like that. So Yuri's fashion show was like really good, and it brought Minho and Kitty back together. They were like, he kind of like really was like crushing on her hard when she was walking down the the catwalk in that weird dress, and the outfits that they made Yuri make were like terrible. It really looked like rags. Like she just stitched together like clothes, which is exactly what she did. But and then the fashion designer that she works for was like really impressed. Yuri's like boss was really impressed by these rags, which is very unrealistic as well. And she was talking, the fashion designer boss of hers was talking in English most of the time, not Korean, which is also like it's not like going to be a real thing. And then like basically it ended with Kitty getting on a flight to Portland with what's his face with Minho because they decided to be together. They did like this romantic like scene where they kept missing each other at the airport, at the train station, and also at the airport as well. And then they kind of like, you know, decided to like go together. Like, oh no, they met up with each other at the train station like eventually. Um, Yeah, so she had her romantic moment because she's very into like she's living in Limerick in her mind, I guess, and she's very into like everything being like very cutesy and K-drama and finding the love of her life and all that. She's very like a true romantic. So that all worked out for her. So it could like they could have like ended it that way, so that would be the end of the whole show, but I don't know. Hopefully it's not. We want to see more, but I want better like cast, better storylines, longer episodes, and I also want longer seasons as well. So I just want to talk about like the character development and character arcs. I'm not sure if this is going to make sense because like I mixed up my notes, so here goes nothing. So Kitty Song-Covey, played by Anna Cathcart, um, basically she like matures significantly this season and she moves on from like someone who she thinks like she can fix, or she's a person that thinks that she can fix any relationship or any romance, and she turns into like someone who realizes that she needs to focus on her own future and family history this season, and her insecurity regarding like Minho's like high profileness. That's why she was like insecure and like questioned him and stuff. Like it's understandable that she would like he went on tour with Eunice and he was her manager and she was around all those girls and stuff. It's understandable and they should have made Minho's character more understanding of that, which like they kind of destroyed his character development, I believe, in this season. Hopefully in season 4 they can like make up for that. And then like yeah, so she dealt with like life's big hurdles like that, but she also like we also saw like her grow in the finale episode as well, where she ends up like trusting her partner and stuff. Like they both kind of come together and trust each other. So then Min-ho, played by Sung-hyun Lee, goes from like as he's been doing like from season 1 to season 2 to season 3, goes from being like the spoiled rich chebble to a genuinely supportive partner and friend to Kitty and to his other friends as well. And his work with Eunice showed his like professional side and how he handled that, and his vulnerability in the final episode when he's talking about like his dad and he's having those talks with Day and stuff about his like being vulnerable about like his own like life and his insecurities and stuff because of his dad and his mom and the way he was like raised and stuff. And especially on like the Chusong and Chosuk anniversary speech and all that, like, and it kind of like cemented him, I think, as like this kind of like fan favorite for everyone to like get behind. But like I said, they kind of ruined his like character development this season, which was a shame because he was pretty an interesting character, I'd say. So then there's like Yuri Han, who's Jia Kim. She went from riches to rags, basically. Normally we see arcs of people going on TV shows from rags to riches, but this was the opposite way around, which was quite interesting. And after her father's assets were frozen and Yuri had to find like a purpose beyond her like status and her money and stuff like that, I thought that was quite good. She went about that quite well and sensibly, and her relationship with like Juliana is handled with like much more emotional maturity, I feel like, this season. And she's like proving that she's like developed and like she's like mentally developed and she's matured basically, and she's more than just like a cool it girl, I think. And also she was previously was like an antagonist for like season 1 as well, when she got in the way of Day and Kitty's like love life. So comparisons I want to make to K-dramas right now. I feel like the show like continued its like tradition of like Western style like kind of pacing with like Korean like bits and pieces added in. And I feel like there should be more Korean bits and pieces instead of like the Western style, because it is based in Korea and it is like kind of like a K-drama situation. So they should have played more on that. That is the angle that people are loving about the show anyway, so why not exploit it to its fullest? So the slow burn situation and the big misunderstandings in season 3, like heavily, I think, relied on like classic like K-drama like situations that I've seen in other K-dramas in the past, especially like rom-com K-dramas, where there's like a simple conversation that could solve everything, but the characters choose to like suffer alone in silence and not talk about it, which I just thought was like stupid. I already voiced my opinion on that before, and I think a lot of people online are talking about how stupid that was as well. Also the idol subplot, like they introduced like Eunice, and allowed like the show to like kind of like look at the ugly side of the K-pop industry, the lack of like privacy and extreme pressure that these K-pop idols are under and how they struggle. And like a common theme in like K-dramas like the heavenly idol or imitation is like this kind of struggle that they go through. Also in Backstreet Rookie, like you see the struggle of the main character's sister when she's going through like being a trainee. It's very difficult. And also I want to touch on like the visuals as well. So like the cinematography in like the Sunset List episode, when she was making that sunset list, um, kind of like mirrored the high kind of saturation and like dreamy look of like modern K-dramas, like like True Beauty, like one of my favorite ones. We've also recapped True Beauty if you guys want to go back and watch that, or I mean, listen to that podcast. Me and Mimi did that together, so it's a bit more, interactive and a bit more entertaining for you guys. Now, I just want to talk about like behind the scenes cast gossip and all that stuff. And it has like connections to season 2 as well, so it might be like things that I've gone over, but let's just talk about it. There's a lot of chemistry we saw in season 3, and it was built up during season 2 in production cycle. So like behind the scenes, like the hot tub reaction, like during season 2, the press ran with like the cast's reaction to Kitty and Min-ho like in the hot tub scenes. That went viral because fans noticed that Sung Hyun Lee and Anna Cathcart had an incredible like off-screen kind of rapport because of like all the behind the scenes stuff, leading to like real life dating rumors that fueled like all the hype for basically season 3, I think. So yeah, there's a lot of like dating rumors for those two. And then in season 3, Anna Cathcart actually did like ad lib uh you what? That's what she said. That's what she ad libbed. A line during the I love you scene. Um, and it was like basically a callback to how the cast frequently improvised during like season 2 because they did a lot of improvisations. That's what they said in interviews in season 2, while they were filming in Seoul. Also, I just want to say like most of like the seasons are filmed like entirely in Seoul, South Korea, and like other locations as well. I like that in that they also did like at the beginning of this season Busan as well. They filmed in Busan, and I think that was like really nice to show a different part of South Korea, and it's like another major city in South Korea. Um, and then there was like the Noah, I can't say this guy's name, Centino cameo in season 2. I thought that was really interesting because he also is in that other show about like being a CIA agent, and he was filming that in Seoul, South Korea. So I think that's why they cameoed him for that as well. Two birds, one stone kind of situation because he was already there filming for that show, which was I think that season was really good because they filmed it in Seoul, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Of that show, I can't remember what he was in. The name of that show, like about the CIA agent. Hopefully, it will come to me soon. What is it? What was it? Something. It's not agent. It's not. Never mind. Anyway, it will hopefully come to me. And then, while season 2 like featured like the cameo from him being Peter Kavaskai, the cast also revealed revealed in like BTS interviews that Noah was a mentor, like a figure on set, helping them like navigate the pressure of the final season. I don't know what I wrote there. What has BTS got to do with anything? I'm confused. Anyway, um, yeah. So public reception and criticisms I want to talk about now. So let's just talk about the good stuff. So the fans loved the senior year vibes. I like that too, but I feel like they didn't do enough of it. And the inclusion of like Lara Jean as well. Hate the name that they named her for a brief like heartwarming, like kind of like sister moment they gave her in there. I hated also the fact that they kept her and her sister, Kitty and Laura Jean, just kept saying sister. Oh, I'm so happy to have you here, sister. Thank you, sister. Oh, I'm so happy you're here, sister. Like, no one says that. If you have a sister, no one says that. I've never heard anyone with a sister say that. It's weird. I don't know why they added that to make it extra weird and cringy. Also the chemistry between Kitty and Minho was like praised for being like really like authentic and electric by the fans as well. Now, the criticisms, there were quite a few criticisms. Like some fans felt like the pregnancy test plot line in episode 5 was a bit like soap opera-ish. I think that too. It feels like something that you'd see like on like Days of Our Lives or a show like that, instead of like a Netflix Gen Z show. It was too much. It was too like weird for this show, I think. There's also like a lot of complaints about like the season felt rushed. Like I said, I really felt like it was rushed, and there was only like 8 episodes, and it was wrapped up in like 5 major like character arcs, basically. I think it was like rushed, and I don't feel like they did it justice, like I said before. And despite like the cringe factor of like certain scenes, like the light up dress, like I do think that the show received like a perfectly like messy conclusion, because the show is about a messy girl. Kitty is very messy, and she's like always diving into other people's lives and messing things up, and then messing her own life up, and like trying to fix stuff, and so it did deserve like a messy conclusion. So that was good, and I think it was like a perfect ending kind of thing, but not really, because I hope there's a season 4, but also they could have done a better ending, because I would like to see like some kind of like conclusion if this is the end. If not, then let us know. Like, we don't even know. We're hanging in the balances for like this whole, are they going to bring it back or not kind of situation. And we're just like left to like wonder, like with like Minho like heading to like Portland with Kitty for like the holidays. That's what they're like saying it is. Like, do we think that their relationship can like survive like transcontinental relationship like status, because like she's got into NYU through early admissions, and he's going to be staying in Seoul because he's got a new job like managing that other band that wanted him apparently, and working on music with Day as well. So can the relationship basically survive like the transition from like high school to like basically becoming adults? And how's it going to be when they go to like the suburbs in Oregon where she's from, and Portland, Oregon where she's from, and like we want to see all that as well, but there's never enough episodes on the show, so I think that's really frustrating for me personally. I'm not a fan of like the actress, like I always say in these recaps. If you haven't listened to the other 2, go back and listen to it. If I haven't dropped that one yet, then I will be talking about that in the next couple of episodes when I talk about season 1 and season 2. So please listen out for that, because I'm not a fan of hers. She's really annoying and she can't act, and I'll talk about it more like later. It's just cringy to watch her. Like, I don't know why they cast her. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Sorry everything got a bit like muddled up. It's because my notes got muddled up, and I could have done a better job, but hopefully you guys forgive me and you like this episode. I'll be back with I was gonna say Minu. Minu. No, I'll be back with Mimi really soon. See, my head's all like jumbled up now because of my jumbled up notes. Yeah, with Mimi pretty soon, with like a lot of like K-drama stuff. We're gonna have C-dramas, we're gonna have Thai shows, we're gonna have Japanese reality TV, we're gonna have Korean reality TV, and also K-dramas too. So there's so much coming up, guys. So keep listening. Bye. Quick, hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on our socials too: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on whatever you're listening to this podcast on.